Aye, let's go. Which of the following is a disadvantage of searching the World Wide Web? Hey, you guys, you're pros in this one. Immediacy, that's like an advantage. Currency, that's advantage. Varied formats, that's also okay. I think it's a lack of credibility. That's an obvious one. There are two main ways to do a literature research. Oh, what are the two main ways to do a literature research? So, tuko na interviewing researchers and using a manual approach, electronically with a computer and with a PDA. What's a PDA? The one I know doesn't make sense. Okay. Manually and electronically with a computer, none of these. So which are the two? What do you think? What are the two main ways to do a literature research? Manually and electronically with a computer. Okay. Interviewing research. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shrina, for answering that one for us. Any dispute? Okay, move on. So researchers need to be familiar with these three basic types of sources. General reference, yes. Historical reference. Historical resources, not really. Secondary resources, yes. General, primary, and secondary. Tertiary, primary, and secondary. General, primary, and statistical. I'd go with B because I think tertiary references are general references also. The primary advantage that the world WWW has brought to literature review is, that one is also obvious, immediate access to a wide variety of current materials. Increased certainty that information is real, that's not true. A strong classification system that is globally accepted. More time efficiency when conducting interactive search. It's not really interactive. So that's another obvious one, right? Haya, tuendelee tu kuamini answers zangu. The most direct pertinent information to read in literature review will usually come from scholarly books and journals, journal articles and research reports and World Web, and I can't see the last one. Okay, so see India obviously out. I don't know why A is out, but I guess journal and articles and research reports also make sense.
I think it's because the information in books can be outdated.
Okay.
Sometimes, like for example, what we're using as a reference today, that information may be outdated in our textbooks.
Okay. So B is the answer. Which of the following is least likely to be a primary source? So A, should we describe what's primary and secondary sources? What do we mean by a primary source and what do we mean by secondary source? Because by what I know, okay, by the knowledge I have is a primary source is like so it's more of like the information you go to gather yourself, like questionnaires, carrying out an experiment, all those, and secondary is what has already been written. But by my definition, I can't be able to answer that. So somebody give me a different definition.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is. So
that's all.
Yeah, so secondary, like even a literature review in itself is a secondary source, because you're writing about other people's studies, but what you said was exactly.
Okay. Tasi, basi, if that's the case, all these look more of secondary sources. Okay, an article in a professional journal, dissertation, a textbook, presented at a professional conference. Like if we were to go by that definition. I think textbooks. Tertiary niliona ni kama like encyclopedias, dictionaries, dictionaries. Not all textbooks are tertiary, I think.
Yeah, I think personally I would have gone with a textbook. What do you think?
Oh, it's least likely to be a primary source. I forgot. Least likely.
Yeah. So I don't expect, like look at the textbooks and how many references we usually have within them. Even if you go to the back. Yeah. What do you think?
It makes sense because it's not exactly something you're doing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I also support Willie because textbooks will find the referenced articles, and
True.
articles will say they are secondary. So I guess it's the farthest answer from primary, in my opinion.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right. Moving on. An adult man on antitubercular therapy, isoniazid, rifampicin, and ethambutol developed paresthesis of his hands and feet. Which of the following vitamins can be used for treatment? I think that's also another obvious one. You've covered tuberculosis, I think, extensively. It's pyridoxine. Pyridoxine is vitamin B6. We can move on. Unless guys has a dispute. Yeah. The part of the digestive system where digestion takes place is mouth, yes, esophagus, not hard, ileum, stomach. I think this question, even when imekuwa corrected, where it does not take place. Because ideally, digestion starts in the mouth. Okay. Which of the following vitamins is involved in the process of blood clotting and bone development? A, K, C, E. No, this one, the elimination, I'd have gone with K because of the blood clotting part. What's the function for the other vitamins? The A, the C, and the E. Somebody can tell us A. Can you do an overview of digestion, JT physiology? Yes, we can. First, tell us what's the function of vitamin A. I might give us scientific or chemical, whatever the other name for vitamin A. Vision. I agree with you. And its name is, I think, retinol. Vitamin, yeah, that's what isn't Retinol. Yes. Okay. And vitamin C, what's its function? Does it have a okay, it has a function. Vitamin C and E, ascorbic acid, antioxidants, and an immunity booster. Yeah, they were really used during COVID. What about vitamin E? Ferron. Wait, okay, it's a ferron. I don't know what it's used for. I think something else that is common is knowing which ones are fat soluble and the water soluble ones. Yeah, HP, you're saying something? Photocoffee is the name for vitamin E, also an oxidant. The fat soluble ones, we have been told they are DEC, A, D, E, and K. And the water soluble ones are B and C. Nice. Okay. So the part of the physiology of the digestive system, yes. Somebody can maybe give us an overview. Yeah. Let's start from the mouth or where the digestion starts. What are like the enzymes and what is digested from the mouth? Okay, let's start from mouth, as I said. What enzymes are found in the saliva? Amylase, and amylase digest what? Yes. The digestion of starch begins from the mouth. Do you also have like peaceable? I'm not sure. Yeah, we have the amylase that's found in the mouth. Okay, so from the mouth we go to the stomach, where a lot of the digestion takes place. Or somebody to give us like a broad summary of the whole physiology or the digestion. Hata kama utatumia your primary school knowledge. I'll try, but my knowledge. Okay, I'll try, and you guys can then add into it, but because I'm also not remembering a lot of it. So as you said, from the mouth, you have the starch that is being down by the amylase. And from there, we go to the stomach, where we'll have enzymes that will be produced from different parts that will come to the stomach. That will have more digestion of the starch by the things like the maltase to break down the maltose. What else is digested in the stomach or absorbed?
We also have the parietal cells present, which produce the HCl in the intrinsic factor.
I haven't heard the last part you said.
I'm saying the parietal cells, you can hear me? Yeah, so the parietal cells for the HCl, and the intrinsic factor, which we usually say binds to vitamin B12 and then absorbed in the ileum. We have what else? The parietal cells. Oh, sorry, I'll say the parietal. We have pepsin also being released by the chief cells. And then I think also we have the G cells which produce gastrin. We have the B cells which produce somatostatin, which inhibits gastrin release. Yeah, similar. So pepsin for proteins, G cells for gastrin, and D cells for somatostatin.
Nice. So we are done with the stomach. What things are absorbed in the stomach?
Proteins.
Yeah, proteins are absorbed from the stomach. What else is absorbed in the stomach? Okay, we also have the alcohol and Melissima, the vitamin. Which vitamin was it, Melissima? It's so produced due to the insufficiency of intrinsic factor.
Vitamin B12.
B12. Okay.
Yeah, so the parietal cells also secrete the intrinsic factor, which will then bind to vitamin B12, alafu absorption occurs in the ileum.
Okay. So from the stomach, we go to the small intestines, which is that first part of the small intestines. Is it the jejunum or the duodenum? Wait, jejunum. The duodenum, okay.
Duodenum, yeah.
So we go to the duodenum. What happens in the duodenum? Hey, please stop keeping content. Okay, I think at this point you also have the pancreatic amylases and also lipase just to continue on with the breakdown of the starch. I don't know if this is the point where bile comes in. Somebody please help me out, Apple. I'm not sure if this is the part where the bile will come to help in the breakdown of the fats. And then you have amylase, trypsin, and the lipase. The amylase will help with breakdown of the starch. Trypsin breaks down peptides into smaller polypeptides. The lipase will break down fats. Right?
Yeah, for the carbohydrates, we also have sucrose, maltase, and lactase. Then peptidase and lipase, as you said. And then I think also we can mention that cholecystokinin is also secreted in the upper small intestine, so like the duodenum, and also what do we call it? The gastric inhibitory peptide, which is usually released when you're in response to the glucose impact.
Really? I feel like unapotea
Am I
potea.
breaking? Am I breaking?
No, not breaking. It's like at some
sauti yangu
point
iko chini.
Eh.
Oh, sorry. I was saying
Mhm,
we have the release of cholecystokinin there
mhm.
present, and then you also have the gastric inhibitory peptide, which is usually in response to fats, amino acids, and glucose in the small intestine. And then also we have secretin also being secreted. Yeah. Yeah, which is secretin usually plays a role in uh, increasing the pH present in the ileum.
Okay.
Was that better? I
Yes.
hope I can. Sorry. So,
Yes, it was better. So now have we covered the entire small intestines? Upper class small intestines is here also there a lot of absorption will take place. You guys said at the duodenum, it's where most food is absorbed. Based on a different question. I think that's what we said. In the duodenum, it's where most absorption take place. And then
I don't think we say duodenum. I think
eh,
we're talking about the ileum and jejunum, if I'm not wrong. Maybe someone can correct me. But we didn't say the duodenum. And the answer to that was because the duodenum, we just say it like just generally as
you
compared
went
to,
away. You're going away.
yeah, I'm
Uh-huh.
saying we say
Mhm.
generally the duodenum is a very small area. So we said the jejunum is where food and drugs are usually taken out.
So the duodenum is where most of it is absorbed.
Yeah, but in case I'm wrong, just
I think the consensus was no. It's the other way around.
The group, yeah, duodenum for drugs and then jejunum for food.
Duodenum is the highest for drug absorption. Left for jejunum for food.
Okay, so duodenum is the highest for drug absorption and jejunum is the highest for food absorption.
Correct.
Okay, noted. Is there something else to discuss on the small intestines? Which has the high blood microvilli. Higher. Then we go to the large intestines. What happens in the large intestines? Higher. Water absorption. We have water absorption. Is there something else? I don't know about something else that happens there. Higher. Then we go to the rectum where the food is the waste food is stored, and then the anus where it's then any more questions, additions, subtractions, clarifications? So thanks for that. We go on. So large intestines has 3 primary functions: absorbing water, electrolytes, producing and absorbing vitamins, forming and propelling feces towards rectum for elimination. Producing. Okay. All right. We just learned that the World Wide Web is not a credible source, but anyway, it's allowed. Alafu, we can remind ourselves on the pancreas, the different types of cells found in the pancreas and what they produce. Anybody? Oh, okay. So we have pancreas. Seta mtumie a World Wide Web. Anyway, I know we have the alpha, the beta, and the gamma cells. Tukasema, I know the beta produces insulin, the alpha glucagon, and the other one is for what is it called? I've forgotten its name. Is it somatostatin? I don't know. I can't remember. Delta cells, somatostatin. Okay. I don't know if this was important, but I think in physiology I also learned how the HCl is released or produced. I don't know. Sina naona tu bado wanaweka additional points. Let me see. So alpha cells produce and secrete glucagon by stimulating a hormone that raises blood sugar level by stimulating release of glucose from the liver. And then the beta cells responsible for producing insulin. And then okay, my mnemonic for remembering the alpha and the beta cells. I don't know if this will help you all, but just say AG and bi, like the Anthony General and bipolar. So AG, that's how I remember them. I love you in Guinea, I just hope for the best. So the delta cells produce somatostatin, secretion of both insulin and glucagon. These are inhibiting the release of certain other hormones. And then we have the pancreatic polypeptide cells. It secretes pancreatic polypeptide, which plays a role in regulating appetite. Epsilon cells, which are less common, producing ghrelin, a hormone that stimulates hunger. And also, okay, ingine siko sure. So I think this is more information on the vitamin K. For example, bacteria synthesize vitamin K, vitamin B12, and folate, which can be absorbed by the colon and serve as endogenous sources of these vitamins. Furthermore, the microbiota releases products that raise colonic acidity, thereby promoting the absorption of calcium, magnesium, and zinc. A reference from the higher credible sources. On this question, kuna kitu summary tuacha hang. I don't know, maybe ni mimi sikusikiza when you were covering, not you have mentioned the calcium. When you were covering the parathyroid, yes, the parathyroid gland. Oh, ni mimi sikusikiza, basi nikumbushe. Give us an overview of it. Since ulikuwa unasikiza.
Pardon?
Hata wewe usikizi.
Pardon.
So given answer the question that Sam had asked, an overview of the parathyroid hormone and the cells that producing function or that shenanigans.
Hey, my internet is breaking. I can't hear you.
So we know the parathyroid hormone regulates the calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin. The vitamin D, I'm not so sure levels. So the cells that produce it, somebody help me with that one. I am not sure. Until the cells that produce the parathyroid hormone. My keyboard warriors. Leo kwani. Hai, acha nitafute tu. Okay, my site chief cells. Sami nimepata ni chief cells. Haya, tuendelee. Mastication is a process of food chewing. Okay. Food allergies occur commonly with proteins. Yeah. Which of the following are essential? Which of the following are referred to as essential fatty acids? Good discussion amesema ni si hata kama asikii vizuri. I also agree on the polyunsaturated fats. Stream, I'm waiting for you to scroll, unless it's a question. Alright. So on to the next section. Which of the following disease is strongly associated with both cigarette smoking and excessive alcohol consumption? Lung cancer, that's mainly cigarettes. Respiratory, mainly cigarettes. Heart disease, mental deterioration. I also agree with heart condition. An important antidote in the treatment of cyanide poisoning is sodium biophosphate. What's the first one used for? That's for iron poisoning. Yeah, iron poisoning. Ethanol is for methanol poisoning, and atropine for organophosphate poisoning. Yeah. So in I think I have a picture of those what are they called? Heavy metal antidotes. I'll send it later. In acute cases of poisoning, activated charcoal acts to reduce absorption of the substances by shortening transit time through the gut, binding to the poison molecules, increase osmotic pressure of the intestinal contents, stimulating the chemoreceptor trigger zone in the medulla. B. Yeah. Yes, I agree. If an individual previously exposed to a particular substance exhibits an enhanced immune response when he encounters it for a second time, this condition is known as tolerance. What is accommodation? This is the one for the eyes. So your eyes trying to focus. Yeah, we know what tolerance is, idiosyncrasy. We also know what it is. Okay. Which of the following toxins come from the castor plant? Ricinus communis. Ricin, yeah. Hey, these have the answers at your fingertips. You can go on, unless somebody has a question. Which of the following statements is not true? Cyanide is not true. Cyanide is one of the most toxic anions. An alkali is any of a group of nitrogen-containing organic bases that occur in animals. Okay, that's really not true. A pesticide is a chemical agent that's used to kill pests. Yeah. Corrosion poison is one that causes destruction of the body tissue upon contact. That's true. If an association is found between the incidence of a disease and a certain genetically determined characteristic, then the disease is clearly genetic in origin. The genetic factors are at least implicated. Genetic factors are implicated in at least some cases of the disease, yeah? Endemic means that a disease, I think it covered this one. B is habitual, okay? It is assumed that diseases can be transmitted directly or indirectly. I think it's a mosquito is an example of indirect disease, indirect. Hold on to this part for the vector. Guys, I think I asked you this. Oh, the different types of vectors. This classification of vectors. Oh. Did you hear the question? There was something I didn't see the vectors. Okay, these types of force and also types of vectors, like the mechanical vectors, who remembers? We have the different types of force. We have the intermediate, the reservoir.
Janet, we can't really hear you.
And now, can you hear me?
Yes.
We are starting. Hi. Now I was talking about the vectors. We have I don't know how many different types of vectors. Haya. We have different types of host. Kuna definitive host. This is the host in which the parasite goes through its sexual cycle, such as mosquito is the definitive host for malaria. And then we have the intermediate host. That's a host in which the parasite replicates, but does not go through its sexual cycle. Like now us, we are the intermediate host in malaria. And then we have the reservoir host. The reservoir host is the population in which the parasite resides when it isn't affecting a population that you can care about. Which population do you not care about? I don't know if that makes sense. It's just something I remembered. Hi, we can go on. With discussion, I know you can. Let me send it to the group. Let me send this to the group. It's for the types of vectors. I'll look at it later. Hi, you can still hear me, right? Other than board discussion. Tina, you can hear me? So, which of the following is not a primary requirement for conducting screening for disease control? prevalence of the disease should be high in the population under study. There should be a favorable prognosis for early treatment of the disease. The government should fund the program. The disease should be serious. That's also just there. Yeah, see, the government should fund the program. That's not a primary requirement. So, a researcher is interested in recording the number of individuals in a particular geographic region who had common cold at some point during the month of February 2010. Which of the following measures of morbidity would be most appropriate in answering this question? Point prevalence, period prevalence, cumulative incidence, incident density. I think we should also define those terms, just in case the next question won't be like this. So somebody can check what's point prevalence, somebody can check cumulative incidence, incidence density, and the period prevalence. So you have point prevalence. Point prevalence is a measure of the proportion of people in a population who have a disease or a condition at a particular time, such as a particular date. So people who have a disease at a particular time. As a characteristic point given time period of interest. Yeah, so it's just at a particular time. That's a point prevalence. Okay. A cumulative incidence, period prevalence. Better. Cumulative incidence is calculated as a number of new events or cases of disease divided by the total number of individuals in the population at risk for a specific time period. Okay. And period prevalence is a proportion of a population that has the characteristic at any point during a given time period interest. Incidence density, also known as incidence rate, is a measure used in epidemiology to quantify the rate at which new cases of a specific disease or health outcome occur in a population over a defined period of time. So it's rate at which new cases occur, okay? It takes into account the varying length of time that individuals are at risk for developing the condition during the study period. This is expressed as the number of new cases per person time at risk. Okay. So, what's the difference between the point prevalence and the period prevalence? Because the point prevalence is the measure of the point is exact date. Period prevalence is months. Point is static, like today. Okay. Hi. So if you're at some point during the month of February, then it's like we're looking within that whole month. So yeah, I guess period makes sense then. Because they haven't specified, unless also if they're specified, it's February and not just the year 2010. Does that make point preference also make sense? I'm an overthink. Maybe an overthink peer. Aye. So period preference is the answer in this case, right? I can't even see the box. Fluoridation of water would be an example of a primary prevention strategy, secondary prevention, tertiary prevention, it's not a prevention strategy. I feel like it's a primary prevention. If I was to be asked what is primary, secondary, and tertiary, I would obviously guess. But if you have the definitions for the different types of prevention strategies, tusaidie. I'm finding the primary would it would be more of a measure you take before it occurs, like to prevent something from occurring. The secondary one is to prevent, and the tertiary is to treat after. It's like providing treatment. So, oh well, something like that. Blood from the right ventricle reaches the lungs through. Primordial prevention. This level of prevention aims to prevent emergency of risk factors in the past. Primary, this one aims to prevent the onset of disease or injury before it even occurs. Secondary, this level of prevention aims to reduce the impact of disease or injury that has already occurred. And tertiary, it aims to soften the impact of an ongoing illness that has lasting effects. Now you know. A, blood from the right ventricle reaches the lungs via right ventricle to the left atrium. That's also another obvious one. That's a yes. Yeah, something else is the group. No, that's fluoridation. Secondary will add detection, will prevent the progression. Reduce complications.
Janet, we can't hear you.
Oh my Lord. Let me go get my microphone.
About time.
And now am I clear?
It doesn't have a microphone. She's just
What you can hear me. Relax. Am I clear now?
Not really. We can hear you, but it's like you're far away from your device.
yeah, it's like you don't want to talk.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
But am I clear though?
Yes.
So tumemaliza na hiyo nini part ya fluoridation. Yeah. Blood from the right ventricle reaches the lung. How does blood get to the heart? Blood meaning what brings blood to the heart from the body to the heart? That's the it doesn't cover the pulmonary vein. Blood comes. Is it that you guys can't hear me still? Tina, can you hear me?
Yeah, then you just disappear, like you were going very far. Don't go.
Yeah,
Wow.
Janet, you're a bit
Just
muffled.
just be stable. Don't move.
I'm not moving. I'm literally seated, talking to myself.
Just be stable. Be stable. That's the keyword.
I'm trying. Okay, let me wear my. Give me a second. Shrina?
Yes.
Oh no, they haven't connected. Now I'm trying to see if I've connected my. Anyway, we can be moving on because you guys can still hear me right now. The main role of bile juice is to assist in the digestion of that's fats, right? Yeah, we all know, at least I know you can hear me. The condition here, muscle fibers. The condition where muscle fibers are completely depleted of ATP and phosphocreatine, and they develop a state of rigidity in death is called vagamosis, rigamosis, oxygen death trip. Yeah, it's the rigamosis. And at what time period does it occur? Like after how many minutes or hours does rigamosis kick in? Like in death, in like, yeah. After someone dies. Yes, true. Yeah, but I think we had been taught about like how long after someone dies that does rigor mortis kick in, because it doesn't kick in immediately. Two hours. I don't know. Most were asking. 2 to 6 hours. And then it's complete. It's within 2 to 6 hours and complete within 12 hours. That is based on my www search. Yeah, I think it starts kicking in early. It starts kicking in within the 2 to 3 hours, and then it's fully kicked in within 12 hours. Some places I'm seeing 3 to 8 hours, so it depends, yeah. The ability of the human brain to change or be functionally remodeled in response to the demand placed on it is called, that is plasticity. You can still hear me. I have to leave the meeting now. Guys, when you're the best person. Shina, you can still hear me. No, I don't even trust you, Shina, anymore. Can anybody hear me? Wait, how did you know I'm asking that? Mr. Lava Lava. Oh, Hiral, can you hear me?
We can
Nasema
hear
aje,
you.
can hear you loud and clear.
Yo, Shina, you're no longer a reliable source.
Talk to me, talk to me.
So somebody has added us more information on rigor mortis. So note that fresh ATP must attach to myosin to permit the cross-bridge link between myosin and actin to break at the end of a cycle, and even though the ATP is not split during the dissociation process, or even though the ATP is not split during this dissociation process, the need for ATP in separating myosin and actin is amply shown in the dermotis. I think this is how to know the physiology of muscle contraction and relaxation. It will explain rigor mortis. So the stiffness of death is generalized locking in place of the skeletal muscles that begin 3 to 4 hours after death and complete in about 12 hours. Following death, the cytosolic concentration of calcium begins to rise, most likely because the inactive muscle cell membrane cannot keep out extracellular calcium, and perhaps because calcium leaks out of the lateral sacs. This calcium moves troponin and tropomyosin aside, letting actin bind with the myosin cross bridges, which are already charged with ATP before death. And I think basically is understanding the physiology of them. Muscle.
I have a
muscle.
question.
Uh-huh.
You see for choice D, yeah, trap, or is it trip? What causes that? Because I'm seeing it's not the same as tetanus, because tetanus happens continually, but trap happens like in the middle of contraction. There's more calcium shifting into the muscular cells. So what condition causes it? Just for FYI.
Okay, I found that TREP is something that occurs internally and is due to an excessive buildup of calcium in the sarcoplasm. So the amount of ATP that you have can't match the amount of calcium which is present, which is in excess. So PrEP is caused intrinsically or by the body itself, while tetanus now occurs due to an external toxin.
But is
Yeah, thank you.
let me ask, is strip necessarily pathophysiological? Like, can it also occur naturally?
Yeah, that's what we're saying. So
Okay.
basically what happens, as someone has shared in the group, in the text, is that when you increase your the rate of blood flow is associated with an increase in the contractions of the heart muscles. So during that increase, you have a buildup of calcium present in the sarcoplasm, which is not proportional to the amount of ATP that you have, and therefore then that's now when PrEP will occur. So as you're saying, like the staircase effect, it's a staircase because the more the increase in the blood rate also increases the contraction. And then now the blood flow increases and then the contraction, like a staircase in industry term.
Cramping is more caused by electrolyte. So is it like cramping during sports? Something like that. Okay, or rather, let me ask this. In skeletal muscles, let's say you're holding
You're really breaking, Janet. Like it's very hard to hear you. Like it's not like you're moving away. I think you're breaking. Unless it's all.
I still
Please
can't tell
repeat.
you what internet.
I can't. Can anyone hear? To answer Mr. Lavalava's question, so is strep like cramping during sports? Yeah, I think you can explain it sort of that way, because that's why we suggest that people do warm-ups before they end up the exercises, so that you can increase your ATP levels slowly, so that they can later on match the amount of calcium that is present. No one has said cramping during sex. Unless someone said that.
Am I still breaking now?
No, you're doing good.
Okay. Is Dana in the group? I don't know. Sawa basi. Tunaweza endelea. We did, for number 73, we went with plasticity. That is the ability of the brain to change functionality. To change or be functionally remodeled in response to the demands placed on it. And I think now Dana can take over.
Alafu hapo kwa chats bana, there are some thirsty people.
I can still hear me.
You can hear you, Janet. Hey, people are thirsty.
Room number? Is it
Um,
73?
Yeah, we are finished with 73.
Okay, so the ability of the human brain to change or be functionally remodeled in response to the demands placed on it is called, is it adaptability? Could be. Is it amnesia? No. Is it consolidation? No. Is it plasticity? Yeah. Yeah, it's plasticity. Plasticity is the ability of the human brain to change or be functionally remodeled in response to the demands placed on it. It's definitely plasticity. Next question, please. Okay, so is it 72? Yes, 72. During the first month after fertilization, pregnancy can be confirmed through detection of we know it's the beta HCG. Maybe we can get more information about it. Yeah, so HCG if there was no cramping. So if there's no cramping, we test for HCG. If there's cramping, we test for. We know it's cramps somewhere. It's menstrual periods. And we know HCG is very notorious during pregnancy. I hope I'm not lying to you guys, but I think it's the one that's responsible for hyperthyroidism, high blood pressure. Please confirm if I'm saying the right things. It's very notorious. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else to discuss on that? I don't think so. So we go to number 71. Which of the following hormones is not released by the hypothalamus? So maybe before we answer it, we can talk about the hormones that are released by the hypothalamus. Give me something in the comments, in the chat. Okay, so okay, sorry for that. So we know the hypothalamus It's responsible for production of the releasing hormones like gonadotropin releasing hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone, thyroid releasing hormone, growth hormone releasing hormone, and prolactin inhibiting factor. That's what the hypothalamus releases. And now for the pituitary gland, the anterior produces growth hormone, FSH, LH, ACTH, thyroid hormone, prolactin. Then for the posterior pituitary, which is also known as the neurohypophysis, for this, the hypothalamus synthesizes the two hormones oxytocin and vasopressin, which now it sends them to the posterior pituitary gland, which now releases them. And we've been talking so much about vasopressin with relation to diabetes insipidus and all that. Yeah, so that comes from the posterior pituitary. So according to our question, we see A is produced by the hypothalamus, B by the anterior pituitary, C by the hypothalamus. Now the protection inhibiting hormone, maybe we can know more about that. I've never heard it.
I don't think it's protection. It's not supposed to be protection. I think it's supposed to be prolactin inhibiting hormone,
Yeah,
which is the same as dopamine, I think.
yeah, so our answer will definitely be B. Okay, now let's go to question 70. The extent to which hemoglobin present is combined with oxygen is primarily determined by partial pressure of oxygen in blood, partial pressure of CO2 in blood. That is definitely out. Concentration of bicarbonate ions in blood, it's out. Concentration of heme molecules in blood, it's out. So it's definitely E. And this is SpO2. We know the levels are usually 90 to 100, if I'm not wrong. It's supposed to be between 90 to 100% for it to be considered normal saturation of the hemoglobins with oxygen in blood. So our answer is definitely A. Anything else to discuss on that? Okay, so number 69, please scroll down a little bit. Aldosterone. I think we've discussed aldosterone before when we were talking about the RAS system. So aldosterone decreases sodium reabsorption by the distal and collecting tubules of the kidneys, increases water retention by the kidneys, increases sodium reabsorption, and decreases water retention on the kidneys. I think we've discussed this before. And our answer will definitely be increasing sodium reabsorption. Do we really need to go through the RAS system again? I don't think so. I think we've covered it like twice. What about choice B? What does choice B say?
I think for this one, it mostly increases sodium reabsorption, which now indirectly will be water. There'll be water reabsorption also. But it's
Yes.
direct, it's sodium, yeah.
So number 68, which of these substances is essential for the absorption of vitamin B12? Yeah, I think we've also talked about this. It's the intrinsic factor where we said the is it pernicious anemia or megaloblastic anemia? One of them. It's due to deficiency of the intrinsic factor. Has to be pernicious. Then the function of basophils in blood is, so maybe we trace back and ask, where do basophils come from? They come from the bone marrow, from the myeloid, that myeloid part, and they're the granular. It's part of the granular, if I'm not lying to you. So what's the function of these basophils? The granular lymphocytes, I think it was part of that. So the function of basophils in blood is it phagocytosis of bacteria and other debris? Is it to act as tissue macrophages? Is it to release histamine, which is important in allergic reactions, or to produce antibodies and control cell-mediated immune responses? We know that's not true. That's for the B lymphocytes. And also A and B is not right. Okay, so Divya has sent something. It says, basophils are a type of white blood cells that works closely with the immune system to defend you against allergens, pathogens, parasites. So they do so by releasing enzymes to improve blood flow and prevent blood clots. Okay, so it prevents blood clots. Something else. So basophils, they act by release of histamine. They cause the release of histamine. They are the major mediators in allergic disease, especially allergic asthma. So what does that histamine do? It increases vascular permeability and causes smooth muscle contraction. And then it also causes the release of the interleukins, which further promote the lymphocyte differentiation, IgE production, when we know IgE is also for allergies and stuff. So definitely see. And also from the chat box, eosinophils to release histamine. That's also another addition. Any additions? Then, which is the normal pacemaker of the heart? We know the normal pacemaker of the heart is the sinoatrial node. And by there, I have a question. What makes it the normal pacemaker of the heart? Is it leaky sodium channels, potassium? What could be the reason for it to be the normal pacemaker of the heart? It's the fastest. So maybe let me So there was this question I saw in a previous paper we did, the stage 1 paper 1, question 12. The sinoatrial node is the pacemaker of the heart because of, is it location in the right atrium, natural leakiness to sodium, neural control, or natural leakiness to potassium? So what makes the sinoatrial node the pacemaker of the heart? It's the sodium. Okay, so it's the natural leakiness to sodium. Okay. Then I think we also did a diagram and also something. We also did something to trace how conduction happens in the heart from the SA node up to the Purkinje fibers. Then what is the percentage by weight of protein and related substances in an average young adult male? What could it be? Any contributions? Because I don't know this. It's B. So 10 says it's B. So it's B. I think this is just the type of questions we just ought to know magically. The 60%, was it for the, is it the water content or what was it? There was another question asking about that.
Water.
Don't know, water, yeah, it's water. And I'm also seeing some leakage here. They're saying plasma protein, it's 7%. Maybe we verify that. Yeah, it's true. So 7% vital proteins such as albumin, gamma globulin, and anti-hemophilic blah blah blah, they make up 7%, the plasma proteins. Maybe just an addition, albumin is responsible for binding acidic drugs. And basic, we said it's the glycoprotein alpha, something glycoprotein. Then to number 64, which of the following vitamin deficiency? Okay, another addition that of the 60% water, it's only 40% that is in the intercellular and 20% is in the ECF of the 60. Okay, now when it's converted into liters, when it's converted into liters, in the ICF, it's 28 liters, which is equivalent to 40%. And in the ECF, it's 14 liters, which is equivalent to 20%. And they're also adding that the average young adult male has 15% fat. 15%. Then number 64, which of the following vitamin deficiency leads to lactic acidosis? Maybe we can approach it like this. Deficiency of riboflavin leads to. Maybe we can do that. Deficiency of riboflavin, please. Basi of niacin, and riboflavin is vitamin B. Thiamine is vitamin B. What? Niacin, like that, like that. I've seen in the mock questions, they also asked what's the other name of vitamin B something, D and all that. Those are questions, so you never know.
Yeah, these people are asking the stuff we know in the mock. Sasa.
Hapana, usikuwe na hiyo mentality. So okay, maybe we can do this. We know vitamin B1 is thiamine. And a deficiency of thiamine leads to lactic acidosis. Vitamin B2 we know is riboflavin. B3 niacin. Is there B4? I know of B5. B5 is choice D, that pantothenic. B6 was pyridoxine. 7 was biotin. 9 was folic, and 12 was cyanocobalamin. Then I think we didn't cover the alternative names of vitamin D's, or did we? Maybe what's the other names of?
Can do that. Can do that.
Kwenda huko.
Hey, punguza bile, punguza bile.
So maybe as we get more information about the different types of vitamin D's, we see a deficiency in vitamin A causes night blindness, xerophthalmia, increased risk of mortality in children and pregnant women. B6, which is folic acid, causes megaloblastic anemia, neural tube, and other birth defects. So it means any drug that causes a deficiency in vitamin B6 will cause neural tube and other birth defects in children born to mothers who have that deficiency. And what are some of those drugs that cause a deficiency in folic acid when given to pregnant women that lead to neural tube and other birth defects? Yes, there's valproate. Good. Then we also go to vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 causes megaloblastic, a deficiency causes megaloblastic anemia, which is associated with H. pylori. Then B1 causes beriberi, Wernicke, and Korsakoff syndromes. Then there's riboflavin, causes impaired iron absorption, non-specific fatigue, eye changes, dermatitis, what have yous. Then with vitamin B3, which is niacin, you'll notice dermatitis, diarrhea, dementia, and death. So that means we should be taking our vitamins religiously. For vitamin B6, which is also folate, it causes dermatitis, anemia, and what have you. Vitamin C is scurvy, D is rickets, osteomalacia, osteoporosis, and colorectal cancer as well. So maybe so 64, the answer is B. Then 63, acetyl-CoA can be directly converted to all the following except we know it can be converted to fatty acids, cholesterol, ketone, body, but not glucose. Yes, so number 63. Yes, A. Anything else to add on acetyl-CoA? Yeah, maybe as we get more information, vitamin B6 is pyridoxine and folate is B9. Then let's just go for choice A as we move. If there's nothing more to add. If there's nothing more to add. Yeah. Yes, then after digestion by restriction endonucleases, DNA strands can be joined again by
Ligases.
yes. So joining anything, name it, it's ligases. What does DNA polymerase do? I think it's also important. Maybe we go through this because I also saw a question on DNA and everything that happens with bacterial DNA replication and all that. And even, yeah. So DNA polymerase is one responsible for synthesizing the DNA strands. Okay, so I usually have let me say around five hormones, hormones, enzymes involved in DNA replication. So we have helicase. Helicase now is the one that's responsible for unwinding now the double helix of DNA. And how does it do that? It breaks the hydrogen bonds between the base pairs. We know the hydrogen bonds are AT-GC, which AT is two hydrogen bonds, GC is 3. So helix is responsible for breaking those hydrogen bonds. Then DNA polymerase, which goes in the 5' to 3' direction, is the one responsible for the formation of the new daughter strand, like the synthesizing the new now, the replicate, whatever DNA strand, the daughter one. And it goes from the 5' to 3'. Now we have the primase. Now the primase, this is an enzyme that's responsible from the name. It synthesizes a very short segment of RNA, now called the
Then
RNA primer. Yeah.
you said DNA
Yes.
polymerase, it goes from 5'
From the 5 to 3, 5' to 3.
So it makes the daughter strand will be 3 to 5, right?
Yes, that's very true. Yes. Yes. So the primase is the one responsible for. Now it synthesizes a very short segment of RNA called an RNA primer. The primer just acts as a tour guide, for the DNA polymerase now. Remember, the DNA polymerase is the one that is synthesizing the new strand. So the RNA primer acts as a guide to it to synthesize the strand further. So, but later on, we'll see the primer is removed and replaced by a new segment of DNA. I can't remember the name of that enzyme that was removing the primers. And then now we go to the DNA ligase. Ligase now was the one responsible now for joining the fragments on the strands. I don't want us to go to the lagging, leading strands or Kazaki fragments. Just know DNA ligase is the one responsible for joining the strands again. Then the topoisomerase now is on, which is also gyrase. DNA gyrase is a type of topoisomerase from the charts. It's the one that relieves the positive supercoiling that arises during unwinding of the DNA. Like the helicase unwinds, the topoisomerase is just behind it to relieve any supercoiling that may occur as it unwinds. Then the DNA polymerase, then the primase to synthesize the RNA primers that acts as a guide to now the DNA polymerase. After the DNA polymerase is done, ligase just ligates, joins them together. So I'm seeing it's 9:59. So I think we can stop here for today. Unless there's any more questions. Okay.